Hi, I'm Ryan Polries. I'm the CEO and founder of Money Act, and today we're going to talk about the inverted yield curve and then what you can do about it. So the inverted yield curve, what that means is that you can get access to invest in a treasury for a better return on your investment for a 2-year treasury than you can a 10-year. And in fact, right now you can get a really good return on even a 1-month treasury. It's like super extreme. And so that's what it means. But what it also means is that a recession is coming within the next 6 to 12 months. And the reason we know this is because we can go back in history and see that every time the yield curve has inverted, it has been followed by a recession. And here you have the inverted yield curve here of the big one, the financial crisis. So there was a warning sign in 2006, 2007 that a major recession was coming. And we even had that little blip of a yield curve inversion that happened in 2019, which led to the pretty big stock market crash, and everybody locked in their homes during COVID. And you can go back in history and see that's happened every single time. Now, if you go back further in this chart, I believe there was a time in the 60s where the yield curve inverted, but we didn't actually have a recession. However, we were having something like 10% GDP growth every year, and it went down to like 3. So that is actually technically it did actually happen in a sense, from a certain point of view. So if you look at today, look how massive that inversion is, just like in the 80s, 70s and 80s. And so what we can expect is that somewhere around March of next year, maybe end of this year, but March to June-ish, we should start seeing a recession. And so at least you can prepare yourself for that. So what we're going to do now is capitalize on that, because a lot of things are in bubble territory right now. Housing in certain sectors around the country, stocks are clearly overpriced. So there's a lot of things that are way overpriced, and you can get a decent return on a short-term treasury, which means that you can not lock up your capital in something long-term and just kind of continue to, counterbalance what inflation is doing to the dollar and still get a return on your money while it sits there and waits to pounce on when deals start to come in, whether it's in housing or stocks or whatever it may be. So we're going to show you how to dive in and purchase a treasury. Now, before I move on to that, you can also find a high yield savings account, which you have to weigh your risk. Everything has a risk. And of course, there's been a banking crisis just this last March. It's probably not over. In fact, it's probably bleeding over into this fall, where I think there was actually a bank that just failed a week or two ago, and it wasn't even on the mainstream. So make sure that it's in a too big to fail bank if you are going to go that route, and make sure that it's under $250,000, the FDIC insurance. So that's another safe route, fairly safe route. You can go. It's not quite as high as a T-bill, but it's pretty close. So that's one option. Here's another option, T-bills. So I had recorded myself purchasing T-bills, but there was a lot of account information in mine, and I love Adam Taggart's explanation, which I love all of his videos. If you haven't watched any of his YouTube channel videos, please check it out. He's really good. So he's already done this, and I'd rather just not show my account information. So let's watch some of his videos, and I'll skip through some of the important parts.
Of website. If you haven't done so before, open an account by clicking this Open a New Account link over here, and then clicking on the Apply Now button down here. Then simply follow all the account opening instructions as prompted. One pro tip here, though. The Treasury Direct website is a little clunky, as A, it's designed by the government, and B, it has a ton of security precautions in place. One thing that takes a little practice to get used to is that you can't use your browser's back button. If you do, it logs you out of the website and you have to start over. Yeah, it's a bit of a hassle, but I guess it's worth putting up with if it keeps your money more secure. Okay, once you have an active account at Treasury Direct, then you want to go back to the homepage and click the big blue Treasury Direct login button.
I'm just going to add one quick note here. Make sure that you save all of your emails from Treasury Direct, because when you go to log back in, you'll have to give this obscure account number that you'll want to have stored somewhere safe. And then once you do give that account number, then it sends you an email with another code that you put in the code, and then you put in your password. So just make sure that you save all of your emails from them.
Once you're successfully logged in, you'll arrive at your Treasury Direct My Account homepage. Click on the tab titled Buy Direct. Now click on the Bills Radio button and then click Submit. Okay, this is the page you'll use to tell Treasury Direct which T-bills you want to purchase, when you want to buy them, and how much of them you want to buy. First off, let me specify that when you buy these T-bills from the Treasury, you're buying what are called new issue bills. These are brand new bills that are being issued at auction and are different from the already issued ones that are being bought and sold on the open market. You will be the first, and in most cases, likely the only owner of these new issue T-bills. T-bills are sold according to their duration. Durations range from 4 weeks to 8 weeks to 13 weeks to 17 weeks to 26 weeks, and finally 52 weeks. Auctions for all but the 52-week T-bills are held weekly. Auctions for 52-week T-bills happen monthly. The table here shows you the Treasury's upcoming calendar for T-bill auctions. The auction date column tells you when the auction will happen, so you'll have to place your order by the afternoon before this date. The issue date is when the T-bill is actually issued into your Treasury Direct account. Now, for those wondering what actually happens at an auction, the big banks and other large buyers actively bid for the bills the Treasury releases on that day. That's a competitive process that sets the yield that regular folks like you and me will receive for that specific tranche of T-bills. To get a sense for what yields on recent auctions have been, scroll down here and click on the View Recent Auctions Result link. It pulls up this page that shows you the results of recent auctions. You'll want to find the most recent auction for the duration you're interested in. Let's look at the most recent one for the 4-week T-bills that were issued on March 7th, 2023. You want to look over at the far right column titled Investment Rate. That's the yield you would have received if you had bought T-bills at this auction. Remember, these are the results of the most recent auctions, but they're no guarantee of the rate you'll get when you buy your T-bills. Rates change from auction to auction, usually not that much over a 1-week period, but just know the yield for your T-bills will be set by the auction that happens during the specific one that you participate in.
Now let's take a quick look at what the market looks like right now, because this video of Adam's was recorded 6 months ago. The 4-week is getting a 5.285 right now. The 17-week is getting 5.34. But notice, look, you've got 1 year is yielding you less than 4 weeks. Now let's get back to Adam's video.
Okay, heading back to our purchasing page, you simply click the radio button next to the type of T-bill and auction date you want. Here, I'll select the 4-week T-bill, auction happening on March 9th, and then scroll down to the purchase amount field. In that field, enter the amount of those T-bills you want to buy. Here, I'll put $100, which is Treasury Direct's minimum purchase amount. FYI, one advantage purchasing T-bills on Treasury Direct offers is the $100 limit. Most brokerage accounts require a $1,000 transaction minimum when buying T-bills. Now, make sure the bank account you want to use for funding the purchase is the correct one selected. Also, make sure you've got sufficient funds within your bank account before attempting to make your purchase. Next, determine whether or not you want your T-bills to be reinvested when they come up for maturity. Reinvesting makes sense if you don't need immediate access to the money and expect yields to remain attractive. Treasury Direct lets you keep reinvesting your T-bills automatically for up to 2 years. So select how many times you'd like your T-bills reinvested, or if you don't want them to be, just select the no option. Here, though, I'm going to request my 4-week T-bill be reinvested 6 times. Note that I can log back into this Treasury Direct account at any time in the future and cancel any future reinvestments if I wish. Finally, you need to tell Treasury Direct where to deposit the proceeds once your T-bill matures and any reinvestment cycle is complete. In most cases, this will be the bank you had the funds withdrawn from, but you have the option at any time to specify a different bank account to receive the funds should you wish. After you've done that, then all that's left to do in our example here is click Submit. Treasury Direct then displays details of the confirmation of your purchase. Be sure to review the page carefully to make sure everything is as you expect. And if it is, then click the blue Submit button. And it's that easy. A few days later, on the issue date, your new T-bill purchase will show up in your Treasury Direct account. Now, in most cases, you'll simply wait until the bill matures. When it does, it'll either be automatically reinvested as many times as you specified, or when there are no reinvestments left, the proceeds will be deposited in the bank account that you specified. In terms of how the math works, here's how it goes. With T-bills, the Treasury doesn't make any interest payments. It simply sells the T-bill to you at a discount and then pays you the full principal of the bill upon maturity. The difference from the funds you paid and the funds you receive is your yield. Here's a quick visual to help. Look at the recent results for the 4-week T-bill auction on March 2nd, 2023. If you'd bought $100 worth of these T-bills then, the Treasury would have charged you $99.64 and 0.3 cents for them. When the bill matures 4 weeks later, it will deposit the full $100 worth of face value back into your bank account. In wrapping up here, it's important to know that any gains you receive from investing in T-bills are exempt from state and local taxes. There are nuances I didn't have time to get into here in order to keep this video concise, like how to sell a T-bill.
So that's another good point versus doing the savings account route, which you, I believe, are charged taxes state and locally for the income that you make on your savings account. So that's another win for the T-bills.
As I said earlier, in most cases, that won't be necessary as T-bills have such short durations. You can just wait until your bills
Always
mature
check with your tax
and get
person.
your full funds back. But know that to sell any T-bills you've bought through Treasury Direct, you'll need to transfer them to your brokerage account in order to do so. It's not a huge deal, but if you think there's a good chance you'll want to sell your T-bills prior to their maturity, you're probably better off just buying them through your brokerage account from the get-go.
Okay, well, thank you so much for watching me and Adam from Wealthion. And again, if you haven't checked out his channel, I highly recommend watching his interviews. They're very good and adds to that financial education. And I hope you enjoyed his explanation as well as my explanation of the inverted yield curve and why it's important right now at this particular time. Because this happened to be a 6-month-old video of his just explaining how to invest in T-bills. But right now actually is key because you can get a high interest rate because the yield curve is inverted and we're seeing a recession coming, and that means buying opportunities for the cash that you have right now. And why not make a decent return right now while you wait? All right, thanks so much. Hope you enjoyed this.